Hello everyone, Coming Clean here. In my last livestream, I showcased my newly created Sentinel and Sorcerer to the world. I talked about these battle classes during the stream, but I also wanted to make a video where I in a more scripted manner talked about my impressions about them as well as the creation process. Let's get right into it. We'll start off with the Sentinel, and you can now see a sped up version of the creation process. Before starting the customization, I knew kind of what I wanted to go for. I knew I wanted some kind of animal creature where the connection to the water element would be subtly hinted in the character design. After abandoning my initial thoughts of a bird-like creature, I went with a head that reminded me of an otter or a badger, which are animals that spend a good chunk of their lives in water. My first choice for a chest piece looked a bit too ceremonial, and I wanted a more brigand-like style to my Sentinel's attire. After being satisfied with the clothing and armor, all that was left was the coloring, and I went for a not too eye-catching teal color scheme to the armor, which is also a color that directs your thoughts to water. And the result was...
nothing better than water!
Tenny Tide, the water-dwelling, staff-swinging brigand mammal. A dramatic presentation will come in the future, but for now, here are my impressions of the Sentinel class and the water element. I found the two main attacks equally cool and enjoyable to use. You have the Buster for area damage and the Acrobat for heavy hits against a single opponent. The secret technique Topspin that drags enemies towards you works especially good with Buster. The Hypnotize skill can work well as crowd control as it stuns enemies, but the bubble bounce ability looked more funny than it was actually useful. I found the Clothesline ability to be the most fun to use in all its simplicity. When it comes to elemental powers connected to the water element, I found the Ice Block very inventive but not that effective. The DPS is low, and even though it can work as a shield, it simply breaks too easily. The Piranhas are very fun too, and a great zoning tool for when you want to keep your distance, but it didn't feel all that impactful. My favorite quickly became the Zap-inspired Wave Push that, ironically, has almost the same utility as the Clothesline secret technique. Equipping both of them did, however, make you super mobile, and there is a slight difference between them too. A Wave Push goes through your enemies for when you want to make quick getaways, and the Clothesline ability collides with your enemies for when you want to stay in place and continue to deal damage. All in all, I'm having great fun with my Water Sentinel so far, and I may change my opinions about the abilities once I've upgraded them. For my Sorcerer, or Sorceress in this case, I had a much more clear goal, making the creation process quicker. I wanted a bird-like character with some sort of ceremonial-looking robe attire. She ended up with glowy eyes and a fancy-looking red feather plume with black details. To add some contrast, I made the clothing mainly white and with very little armor details. Her stats suffered as a consequence, but that is simply the cost of cool. When everything was finished, I could present to the world
Cower before magic.
the Feather Godmother. Let's take a look at my impressions of the Sorcerer battle class. I found the Master Enchanter to be the most effective and enjoyable main attack, as it worked the best against multiple opponents. I followed my viewer's suggestion and made my Sorcerer of the magic element. Therefore, the visual effects of both the secret techniques and the elemental powers sort of blended together to a large extent. Even though the mage video game archetype is my personal favorite, it was fun to find synergies between the different skills. With the Mystic Grid ability, you can put down staffs that conjures electricity between them. This worked perfectly in conjunction with the Trick Teleport power for rapid movement, making the process of placing staffs at good spots much easier. The Time Bubble skill that slows down enemies was also perfect to use with the Summoned Fury ability that lets you move a chain of lightning manually, which becomes much more effective against slow-moving targets. Finally, the secret technique called Bewildering Blast and the elemental power Magic Upheaval does approximately the same thing in that both abilities launch enemies into the air. As long as you're not fighting larger foes, this means that you can do very entertaining juggle combos. I doubt that the Sorcerer would be my favorite battle class, but at least it was a lot of fun to find all these combinations. That was my creation process and impressions of the Sentinel and Sorcerer battle class, and my newest member to Coming Clean's Mean Dream team. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content about Imaginators and Skylanders in general. That is, however, it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Coming Clean, and I will see you next time. Take care!